Waiting for it. Waiting for it. And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to sort of an after show casual stream here. We are joined by special guest, the SMT, Sneed Mobile Tech. Sneed, how are you doing today?
Excellent, Stetson. Thanks for bringing me on, man. It's good to be here.
Oh, always a joy to have you on. And thank you, everyone, for watching, for your patience. We were making sure the audio was as crisp and clean as possible. For this episode, we're talking about iPhone 13, what's been a buzz, what's been brewing in the tech and wireless world, and anything else. And also, Dennis is here. Dennis, I feel like I forget to introduce you like every single time. I want to apologize for that.
It's okay.
He's rocking a blue beanie.
But side note, real quick, you did tweet this out, right?
Yeah, I tweeted this out. We got it.
Cool.
I posted it on YouTube.
Got a retweet.
Cool.
Sneed's retweeting it.
There
Ryan's
we go,
here. Michael's here. The crowd is here.
What's up, guys? Welcome. Good to see you, Max, my boy Debo Bob, Makeo, and Michael and Ryan. Good to have y'all. I want to start off with a first question right out the gate. Who here is going to get an iPhone 13?
Ooh.
You guys want to run a poll?
Ooh.
Yeah, I can do that.
Go ahead and build that into the YouTube app, and you can get that going, and we'll see the pulse of the people, man.
The polls of the people.
And when you make the poll stats, and I want, if you can you specify as well, like 13/mini and like 13 Pro?
Oh, you got it, Dennis. 100%.
Got choices,
So,
you know.
Oh, actually, we can. Well, actually, yes, we can.
You got choices you can add. Yeah, go ahead.
I guess
got the
technically
13 mini, you got the 13, you got the 13 Pro, you got the 13 Pro Max. I'm digging the mini iPad.
Oh, Sneed.
You know?
Oh, that was the best. That stole the spotlight for me from the stage.
Bro. It's like a freaking Pro model iPad, but small.
Dude, honestly, that thing could be a phone. For all intents and purposes, that thing could be a legit phone.
Hey, now it'd be like a phone in China, because don't they like the ginormous screens, like 8 inches? Right?
True. It's true.
Now now grandma that was taking pictures with the iPad, now she won't look as ridiculous.
Oh man, we got Austin joining us in the chat. This is great. This is already such a great episode. So we
What's
have
up,
a poll
everybody?
that is live right now on what iPhone 13 model you are getting. And
or just, are you getting it at all? Is like,
yeah.
Like, I'm assuming there's an answer in there to like not getting it, right? Like,
No.
I did not put an answer for that. The only option is to get.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not getting it, then you have no vote. You know what I mean? So like, you don't have a voice. There is no pulse coming from you. You know?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well,
so what about you guys? Like, what are your personal answers to this?
Right.
I'll let you two go first, and I'll go in with my spicy take.
I'm 100% getting the iPhone 13 Pro, just the regular Pro, not the Pro Max. I like smaller phones, and this year the regular Pro is the exact same camera hardware as the Pro Max. So really, the only differences are screen and battery. And yeah, I'm super stoked for the Pro. Sneed, what about you? I mean, you do a lot of network testing, but we're not getting anything really new here from a network perspective, right? We're still getting the X60 modem, which was already out basically a year ago, and the S21 at this point. And, you know, it's just Apple's flavor or Apple's sampling.
Right.
And I know you daily the Pixel, right?
Yeah, that's my go-to, man. I love that phone. And I mean, but I'm also going daily with an iPhone too.
Yeah.
So but I wish I would have got the Max. You know, I really missed for the battery life. You know, because
that's interesting.
You know, you don't like your phone connected to the charger all the time. My 12 Pro has been a nightmare.
Oh, really?
That has been,
I'm sorry to hear that.
it is. It has been the most problematic phone I've ever owned. Post Gen 1 LTE. So like, you remember like the Thunderbolt? I don't know if you're old enough to remember that phone. You guys are pretty young. But like the first generation of LTE phones were absolutely trash. And that's what it reminds me of a little bit. The phone gets hot, the battery dies, you know, pretty fast. And but like the regular, like the stuff you normally do with it, it's a great phone. But that's what it reminds me of, because I'm charging it twice a day, and it gets hot when I use it for anything that's not video. Like if I'm watching video, it's not a big deal. But when I'm producing content, when I'm on Twitter Spaces, Like some of those types of things. It's just not very good.
I want to ask you, Sneed, what network are you using your iPhone 12 Pro on?
FirstNet.
You're using it on FirstNet. So do you
FirstNet.
think this could all be related to FirstNet, or do you really think it's kind of a Apple issue with what they have going on with your unit?
I have an AT&T Los Mobile SIM on my iPhone 12, and that doesn't have problems, which is pretty much the same thing. So, I mean, it's possible. To make it official, I should probably do as you say and try another SIM just to be sure. But, I'd bet 60 cents that it probably wouldn't make a difference.
Okay.
60 cents. Okay,
So
they're gonna hold
with
you
that,
on that.
are you getting a 13, or are you just going to like stick with your overheating? You're getting the 13? All right.
Yeah, I'll trade in either my 12 or my 12 Pro. I'll trade one of them in. And I'll
Dude,
get the
that sounds
Pro
like you
Max.
should trade in your 12 Pro. You're like cooking eggs with it. It's a frying pan, not a smartphone.
Yeah, but the storage is tremendous. Like I got I think I have the 512.
Ooh, I have that one.
Yeah, so like it's kind of nice just creating 4K content and not even thinking about it. Like
Gotcha.
I do like my shorter videos that are like a minute or two, I'll do 4K. Anything that's like 3-4 minutes or more, I just do 1080p. Just because I know that at some point it's gonna fill up, and I know it. So
Yeah. Gotcha.
I'm gonna go.
So
I'm gonna go with the Pro Max for sure, man.
Upgrading the Pro Max for the battery, and it's just going to be easier to make content, I'm imagining, with the bigger screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
That leaves you, Dennis. What's your spicy take? I know you like to season these podcasts with this, great flavoring. So are you upgrading from your iPhone? You have a 10R at this point, am I correct?
I have a 12 Pro Max.
Oh, but you also have a 10R that's like older.
I
that's
have an
like
iPhone 11. That is
iPhone.
older.
Okay. My mistake. So you got a 12 Pro Max. Are you upgrading to the iPhone 13?
So my hot take is I don't think I am. And the reason why is because Apple during the event was incredibly shady about the performance enhancements. As far as what the new A15 Bionic chipset is going to do. And from the best that I can tell, I don't actually think it's going to be a meaningful performance increase over the 12 Pro. Like, I think the performance increase over the 12 Pro A14, if I'm feeling really generous, might be like a 25% uplift. Maybe.
What do you mean by performance? Like, what does that mean to you in terms of the phone and use cases?
I'm talking like processing power, processing power, battery efficiency, all those types of things like that. Like the extra hours of battery life that Apple was touting, I believe is more so coming from the fact that they got that more efficient screen that's able to reduce its refresh rate down to like just 10 hertz, and the fact that they were able to add more battery capacity and very minorly less to do with the actual processors themselves, because they're both on the 5nm like design, and then as far as wireless performance goes,
dude, we got some hot takes in here about wireless performance.
Any benefits that are going to be coming from the X60 modem aren't going to be benefits that can really be realized at this point, because no carrier is doing standard, no carrier at the moment is doing 5G standalone carrier aggregation of 5G bands at the moment, which would be the only real main gain outside of a few different bands, which also don't really impact all that much, because it's not going to be using Dish Network anytime here in the near future or anything like that. So for me, this phone is only main selling point is that high refresh rate screen, but I can't justify spending $1,400 to go get a new iPhone 13 Pro Max, which for all I know might have the same issues that was plaguing the S21 that I know Sneed had referred to because of that X60 modem. So I have a hard pass right now at the moment. I'm definitely not pre-ordering it. I might wait and see if the deal is good enough, maybe. But personally, I don't actually think this phone is all that worthwhile, because all the improvements that did come about also seem a little odd. Like Apple was touting, for example, the new camera racking feature, right?
Yeah.
MKBHD actually did a video talking about it, showing off this feature, and if you take a close look at it, it doesn't actually work that well. And this was in Apple's most ideal situation and settings.
Yeah, I did notice that as well.
And then if we're talking about the improvements on the camera, it goes back to that argument that I made before where, cameras get to a point where they're so good, like Facebook can only look so good, right, because of compression. So the camera improvements for what I use my camera for, I can't justify. And as far as ProRes cinematography, that point seems null and void to me because, one, storage limitation. It's not like there's expandable storage, but two, more importantly, to take advantage of ProRes footage, you're going to need to actually get that into like Adobe or something so you can actually edit it and correct like the coloring and stuff like that. Well, Apple's still using Lightning, which is USB 2.0, which is slow as crap. And the only other option is AirDrop, I believe is what it's called, and that's also slow as crap. So why would I want to use this phone that's going to be really, really slow to export that footage to my PC when I could take that $1,400 or so to just go buy a proper DSLR camera or what have you?
Yeah, all great points, Dennis. Would it really be $1,400 though? I feel like you can basically get this. Yeah, well, you can basically get this for free. I feel like with the carrier deals going on right now.
So
36 months of financing.
They're gonna give it. They're gonna give you $1,000, right, Stetson? So
yeah,
you're coming in at $1,099 for the max, but then he's basically if at $1,400, he's saying he's going max storage. So you're still going to be, even if the carrier lets you finance the entire thing or gives you a credit, you're still coming out $400 or something like that, or $300
to upgrade.
Right? So,
yeah,
and then you're going to be on, in AT&T's case, 36 months, right? And now T-Mobile's moved to 30 or 36 months, I think.
Yeah,
and it's SIM locked.
Your payment's already over $50 a month if you just finance through the carrier straight up,
And it's SIM locked if you go through the carrier, which means I can't use the dual SIM where I have, stuff like
last I checked, they weren't locking the eSIMs, but that might be different this gen.
I don't think these are locked. Did you guys see?
They lock the physical SIM. Okay, so I don't know. Who knows? We got to get these phones in check. I mean, I'm not going to finance through a carrier, but I'm sure people will.
No way will I do that.
Right.
But, did you guys see it's dual eSIM this year?
Right.
Yeah, I saw that, and that got me excited. That's an exciting feature
that they never talked about. It was just like, oh yeah, in the spec sheet.
Stetson, this is proof that they don't care about us. Us meaning like people that are getting down to the nitty gritty of the technical aspects of these devices.
Yeah.
Right. So you need multiple SIMs. You and 17 other people. That's literally how they feel about that. Could you imagine sitting down with the engineers and, those that go into the planning of a phone? They would push us out of the room. They're like, we don't care what you want. We don't care what you're screaming for. You're not the 99% of the people that are going to buy this thing.
I would argue there's actually a business use case, though, for supporting dual eSIM. And so Apple would care or should care about features like the ones that we talk about, though, because if you think about it, like any company you work for, if they give you a company phone, what's it end up being typically? It's an iPhone. So I think Apple should care a lot more about what we have to say, because usually some of the stuff that we says has real world applications, more so for businesses and IT, less so for average consumer, but nonetheless, still.
100%.
Jamie, dual SIM is such a dream. Definitely excited for that. Personal one for personal, one for travel with Airlu. But Sneed, when it comes to eSIM, did you see that Samsung in version UI 4.0 is actually enabling eSIM for US versions of the Galaxy S20?
Yeah, it's about time, right?
It's about time.
Yeah, we were that birthday bash. We could throw in the eSIM on the Galaxies, man.
Yeah, we could have a party going for that too.
Seriously,
but
that was nuts.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Anybody else has any spicy takes or thoughts on iPhone 13? Anything that got them excited outside of the dual eSIM support? Anything that's sticking out?
I think the displays are better, right? We can get excited about that. That's the number one thing you interact with, right?
I'm big excited about it. That's the number one reason in my mind to upgrade. You spend all of your time on the screen of the phone. That's how you interact with it. I'm super excited to finally get 120 hertz. I mean, this thing is going to fly. Even if, Dennis, as you said, even if the processor flatlined and was the same, this thing would still scream. It'd be so fast.
But who was complaining about the processing power of the iPhone?
I don't think anyone.
So I mean, they've always kind of been industry leading in that respect. The combination of their optimizations, their Unix based system and all of that, the kernel, whatever. We've never had issues with their power. In the past we've had issues with their modems, the cellular modems. In the past we've had issues with their lightning connectors and all these other things. But I always thought to myself, if I wanted the industry's best display, I had to get a Galaxy S series or a Note. And now with, I would say, a more competitive, cutting edge technology. I mean, it's not cutting edge anymore because it's been in Galaxies for 2 years, but a variable refresh rate makes sense for battery optimization. And then when it's time to push it, you can get it, right? It's like having a fast car. You can put it on cruise control and then you can pedal to the metal on the freeway. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I will say, as far as the variable refresh rate goes, Android's had it for a while, but no one's actually been doing it really well. So I'll be interested to see Apple's implementation on it to see if they're able to achieve. I think one thing that's going to actually slow it down, though, is the fact that Apple has really long animations when it comes to transition.
Yeah, but they like that, Dennis. I don't know. That's like an Apple thing. They want it to look smooth. They want you to see it transition. You and me would go into developer settings and put that thing at 0.
Or 0.5.
So we can get to we want to get to the screen quicker. They're like, no, we want to make it look elegant.
I will say.
You remember those commercials when they were making out in the park and the snowflakes were coming down, iPhone 10? Like, that's what they do, bro.
Yeah. I will say, I feel like they do it consistently. Like, you can play the animations on any phone for the last couple of years, and they look consistently smooth. I feel like if you do that on Android, you're getting very different results if you're going from, let's say, something that's more budget focused, like a Pixel 4a, versus something that's more premium, like the Pixel 5 or Galaxy S21. But yeah, I don't know. It's not fast, but it's consistent, I think.
I get my main point that I was getting at with that, though, was like the 120 hertz refresh rate. It's snappy for when you scroll. It's snappy for when you tap on stuff for responsiveness and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm also trying to say is that Apple's animations are going to in some way inhibit the improvements that come about from that, whether it be the typing animation where you're typing on Apple's keyboard, or the clicking on an app and waiting for it to load up Facebook. Apple
I don't think
draws
so.
up.
All the iPad Pros have had ProMotion for a while at 120 hertz, and they've been buttery smooth and screaming fast ever since they came out. I think iOS is ready for it.
Well, I haven't had a new iPad in a while, although I will just say that iPad Mini, looking really good. That is honestly, if I was going to buy any Apple product this year,
that's it.
That would probably be the most likely purchase, because I haven't bought an iPad since like the iPad Air 2.
Dennis, this would be the iPad Mini to get. It's got 5G. It only supports low band, sub 6 gigahertz, so a little bit but other than that, the design was improved, screen was improved, USB Type-C. I mean, this thing is screaming. It's sitting up there on its iPad Mini throne, taking all the spotlight.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So I think that was probably the highlight for me for the event.
What about the new Apple Watch, Stetson?
Oh, man, there is so much. Did you guys see, first of all, did you see the rumors and leaks surrounding this watch and the flat design that we were supposed to see at the last Apple event?
Bro, my wife was expected that flat
edge.
Yeah, she's like, I think I'm gonna upgrade my Apple Watch. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, I don't think it's any different than your Series 4 or whatever she has. She's like, really? I saw like a render or a picture or a leak of it, and I was like, oh, you fell for it like we all did then.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people that were looking to move on from the 3 and the 4 were looking for a pretty bold redesign of some sort, and it didn't come.
Dude, Apple got shady again though with their marketing of the new watch. Like, I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter, but Apple put up like a thing that shows like a message box, and what they did is they kind of like off-centered the one message to make it so that the screen looks a lot bigger than the previous iteration.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Even though they're like basically the same size. Also, Did you see that Apple, prior to the event, there was a keyboard app that was made by a third-party developer? They
Yeah.
literally kicked them off just so they can unveil it baked into their Watch OS.
That was a little sad, but I don't know. I love the Apple Watch. I was actually excited to upgrade. So I had the Series 3, 4 years old
Ooh,
at this point. Sneed, it sounded
yeah.
like your wife also a Series 3 user.
3 or a
Yeah.
4? It's right
Oh,
in there.
4. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
that's
one or
still
the other.
3 years. Like 3 years is a great life. Maybe new
Sure.
design, time to upgrade. Then I
Hmm.
actually accidentally dropped mine. So I smashed it.
No,
And I mean, it made
but
me realize
they
like how
can
much I
they
used
can
it
be
and appreciate it.
replaced. They can be replaced. That
Yeah,
glass
but
display.
you don't want to replace the 3. It's missing a
Nah.
lot of the sensors. It's
I looked at Apple and it was $150 to get it fixed from them, is what my understanding was. And I can buy one used on SwapUp for like $130.
dude,
So
you shouldn't even buy a 3.
no,
The
no.
3, honestly, the fact that Apple's still selling the Watch 3 new is astonishing to me because it's so inferior.
It really is. And then with this, I think what happened was John Prosser, the leaker who brought us the new design, he said that it looked real. It was corroborated by a lot of different articles and sources and news publications. And Sneed, the fact that your wife, she's probably through osmosis getting a lot of, tech news and info from you. But the fact that she was kind of aware of this and expecting it, I think shows that it reached a broader audience than maybe some of the other leaks.
I think it's that,
And
and I think it's also the fact that people, like 3 years of the watch, they're ready.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Like
Yeah.
it doesn't get as much of a design change as the other products. And so I think, yeah, we got a redesign going from 3 to 4. And so going from 4 to 7 made sense.
So what's crazy, guys, is the iPhone was the only device that didn't do anything. Like the iPad was great.
Yeah.
The mini is awesome. Even the newer, larger iPad that they're gonna sell for $329 and then $299 for students for school.
fantastic.
Yeah. So and then like the watch is still like if you're coming out of a 3 or 4, you could say that's an upgrade. The only way you're buying an iPhone 13, really, that makes sense is if you're in a 10 or older, or maybe like a 10s generation or older. But if you're in a 12, why would you? Why? Like
I don't think, yeah.
what? I mean, even if you trade in and they give you 800 for your Pro Max, your 12 Pro Max, it's like, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I know what's coming next year for the Androids, right? I know what the Galaxy is gonna do. So either you're holding your ducats and then you're gonna go with that, or you're just gonna get the next iPhone. But man, I guess you got money to burn if you're going from the 12 to the 13 just because.
I don't know.
You
I
know?
actually have a theory that it might actually be cheaper to upgrade every year than to wait. Like if you do it every 2 years, if you get a carrier trade-in deal, there is no denying that trading in an iPhone 11 or an 11 Pro to get a free iPhone 13, that's amazing. But if you're buying full price every year, like I think my net upgrade cost is around 350, maybe $400.
Yeah, that
And I
makes
think
sense. Yeah.
if I were to sell it in 2 years, I think it'd probably be the same because the phone would devalue that much
Yeah.
more, and the delta between the upgrade and what I sell it for would increase as well. So
Hey, real quick though, I just had a thought. I want to talk about something that you haven't been highlighting, and it's a little bit of a Twitter post that you posted recently, Stetson. Sneed,
Sure.
have you been paying attention to Stetson's Twitter?
Yeah, I follow everything that Stetson does, man. I'm always waiting for something from him. I mean, so here's what a lot of people don't know about Stetson. Like he covers all the plans, but the dude is an absolute connoisseur of smartphones. Like if you follow Stetson's Twitter, you know the dude is critiquing and looking at every detail for these new releases. So I'm in tune with Stetson's Twitter.
Okay. Well, the thing that I'm specifically referring to has to do with tablet plans, and specifically an unlimited tablet plan that might be coming to Visible thanks to our boy Stetson here.
Stetson poking the bear, man. Look at that.
yeah, I mean, how could you not, right? We had Apple launch this amazing cellular iPad mini. It's the cheapest cellular iPad you can get. What would go great with that? I don't know, an affordable unlimited data plan from Visible.
Here's
So
why
I was
that's
like,
brilliant, Stetson.
yeah.
People have expensive phone lines. They don't want expensive tablet lines. Visible is like right up the alley coming in at $25 or whatever,
Yeah.
40 bucks. whatever.
What do you think their tablet line would look like?
Well,
I mean, it's going to be structured the same, right, for in terms of access.
I mean, yeah. So
Or do you
right
think
now
they'll go up video res? Because like that's a bigger display, right? So are they going to go up to 720p? Are they going to go up to 1080p?
Well, I think they might charge more, because usually carriers charge more for a tablet line. Like if you look at like what Verizon charges or AT&T charges or any carrier that supports tablets, they usually have some type of special pricing for tablet lines.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's a little mixed because if you let's say you add a smartphone line to your plan, it's way more expensive than adding a tablet line to your plan.
Right. That's how I always understood it. Like if I went to Verizon and wanted to add a tablet line, right? So I already have like 7 lines for phones. That tablet line is going to cost me $30 or less.
Yeah, but we're talking just a tablet line in this scenario. Like we're talking just a tablet, not.
Oh, so you're going to Visible and then you're just going to get a tablet line.
You're just getting your tablet?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe he's right.
I don't know. I think it'll be the same. Okay. I think it'll be $25. I mean, if they're doing it for phones, like why not tablets? Like
but it does have to kick up the res though. They can't do 480p on a tablet.
They will 100% do 480p on a tablet.
I mean, I could see him doing it. But look, I will just say if I got that mini and I needed a cell plan, I think Visible at $25 would be the thing calling my name.
Visible, US Mobile too.
$25 makes it worth because I don't need my tablet to be on point like my phone. I just need a little bit of internet on that tablet.
Here's the thing, man. True. I would rather pay for a higher access plan with more priority data and more hotspot allowance and tethering than to get a dedicated line that's sticking me with 480p.
Sneed, I want you to go over and apply for a position at Verizon and take over their tablet line department, please.
I can't support what they're doing with that. Honestly, man, like these displays are larger. They command a higher resolution playback experience. And people are not dumb. They will literally tell them, to hell with this. I'll just go ahead and get more tethering hotspot or upgrade my plan. Like, say, for example, T-Mobile. I'll move up to Magenta Max, and I'll get the better access so I can use my tablet as I please. And I'll just stick to Wi-Fi. You guys want to stick it to me, then I'll make a hotspot. Because it's not going to make business sense for you to have a less than stellar experience and then pay a premium for a line access.
Well, right. I think the way you use a tablet's different than the way you use a phone, though. Like, the way I would use a tablet would primarily be around the house and primarily be for media consumption. If I'm in the off scenario where I'm using it as a cellular device out of the house, it probably means I'm in like a traveling scenario where I'm getting ready for a flight, or maybe I'm using it for some type of navigation or something, like something super basic, right? Yeah. Or maybe sending emails off it, right? Maybe I got like a little wireless keyboard. And in all those situations, it doesn't matter. Like, is guess the mentality. I guess I look at a tablet in a different way than I use my phone. My phone, it's my literally everything device, right? I need it to be constantly working. I need it to call. I need it to text because I'm getting job interviews, whatever. I need it to play video at nice, beautiful 1080p at least because I don't want to deal with buffering and I like that high quality content on that 1440p display. I want it to be on point, right? And having a little bit of good hotspot access is also good for connecting other devices. But the tablet would be more like if I'm out and about, I'm probably using it for maybe an Excel spreadsheet or something stupid like that. And if I'm trying to consume content, then I'm probably in a more relaxed setting where maybe I have the big loud speakers going, not headphones going, right? Like on my phone, I'm probably using headphones, but on my tablet, I'm probably using the speakers. You know what I'm saying?
But let's look at the direction of these devices. Everything is moving to full integration. We no longer see a single device as what is this thing's intended use. Everything is starting to have a gray area. Your phone acts as a phone, also a productivity tool, right? Which means it could also be part of your job, which means it could kind of be a pseudo tablet if it's large enough where it folds, right? And then here's the iPad, which has cellular radios now, and it has, all these pro-grade features that make it more like a pro-grade phone. So that, I wouldn't look at, what I'm saying, Dennis, is I wouldn't look at it from that angle. If you're going to make it a jack of all trades where somebody could leave their house with the iPad and not even need to take their phone, well, then it has to be powerful and the experience should match. So if you get a plan that doesn't match the power, now you're having a decreased experience. So the way I look at it is this, and this is why I asked about the cost and the carrier, because AT&T will sell you a $20 tablet line with full video no video throttling, full access. See, Carlos knows, $20. There are people, Dennis, that literally, I mean, they run game. They will activate the iPad lines with AT&T and put them into modems as hotspots. You know, they'll change whatever, mask the IMEI and whatever. They play these things. But I'm just saying, like, there are companies that get what the tablet is actually for, like AT&T, for example. So if Visible wants to come with some 480p, it's not going to be good. And carriers, other postpaid carriers, can match that price and give you a better experience. You know, and that's why I was kind of concerned about the price. At $25, they have a chance. At $40, it won't happen. Not for visible priority and not for the experience at 480p.
Yeah, I think also, I mean, the truth is I own the iPad Pro, and it's just a glorified YouTube consumption device. That is my number one use case for it.
So for
the
a Pro
iPad
model
mini,
iPad.
Yes, that is correct. You've caught me red-handed. I'm using my computer, as Apple calls it, as a YouTube-only device. Sometimes I'll use Google Docs.
But how many people use it as a computer, Stetson?
I honestly have no idea how you use it as a computer. Right. I run into issues all the time with it.
At Penn State in college, I saw actually a lot of people use their iPads for taking notes and
that
stuff.
That is okay. Note taking, that is a thumbs up for me. I did that as well. It actually works. Anything outside of that, anything on the internet, forget it. Forget it.
No. I'm gonna say, like, it's not great. Like, I don't like it, but I've seen people use the Office 365 suite on there, like PowerPoint, Excel, that kind of stuff.
And they're crying on the inside, Dennis. I mean, some people, I've seen a lot of people who are YouTubers say they really like it. I personally am way faster at everything on a computer. Keyboard shortcuts are way better. Doing something like inserting a link into a Google Doc, for example, takes like 3 taps on an iPad, and I can do it in a quick keyboard shortcut on a computer. So, but anyway, my point being, iPad mini, 100% YouTube on the go device. I don't know why we're trying to kid ourselves. Google Maps as well, like Velcro that sucker to a car dashboard. That would be sick. Maybe doing some reading or social media. I mean, this is just a consumption powerhouse on the go. So I think, to Sneed's point, it needs a good plan. And I'm glad that you can get a VPN to get around a video throttle. But I'm concerned, Sneed. I actually think they might cap the whole plan at 5 megabits per second, right? Because the hotspot that the phone plans include from Visible is already at 5 megabits per second.
Right. Yeah.
So,
5 megabits per second would get you 720p.
Yeah.
I guess, it depends like what they do with the video. That'd be interesting. Like if
YouTube's
they cap
pretty
the video,
well optimized, so you might even be able to pull 1080p with
easy. No, I was pulling 1440p on 8 megabits per second on Cricket.
Dang.
1440p? Yeah, it took a few seconds.
But that's YouTube, right? So like another app, it may not be the case, you know?
That's true.
Sweet. But on an unrelated side note, can we talk about what happened to you just recently from the behind the scenes stuff we were talking about?
Who's you?
Stetson.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I was like, what happened to me?
He's like, what did I do on the spot?
So, basically, for people that don't remember, Stetson, or I don't even know if we let the audience know, but Best Phone Plans has been in contact with Xfinity, their marketing team. We met them through one of our hosts who is gracious enough to give us a lead. And Stetson actually is just been installed with Xfinity's gigabit internet service and is going to be testing that out and making an ISP comparison list. Stetson, do you want to tell them a little bit about what your experience has been so far?
Yeah, so far it's been great. I mean, we had the tech come out, do the install. He replaced a copper terminator with a nickel one, which my understanding is that is more reliable. And got the X-Fi gateway set up. It's been screaming fast. Really good connection everywhere in the house so far. And I think from here, got to test out Xfinity Mobile. I mean, that's the game plan, is to see what their service is like, what the phone plan is like, how the phone works, because I've actually heard sometimes it will prioritize the Wi-Fi hotspots, and that can sometimes have a negative experience on the user where your phone is bouncing between the cell network and the Wi-Fi hotspots, losing them. And I've heard it can potentially drop calls. So I'll be
Wow.
testing that for sure. And it's making me think like, man, maybe I should get some T-Mobile home internet in here while we are at it. And then maybe, I don't know, pick up some sort of Netgear hotspot device and get some Los Mobile going.
I think that would be it. I think I told you about it behind the scenes, but that's the type of test you should do. You should do T-Mobile home internet because you have N41, so it's really good in your market. So you do N41 versus cable versus fiber, and then you do like a nice breakdown with the criteria that you were kind of talking about, with obviously price being important, right? And then the other 3 metrics that you talked about, ease of installation and so forth.
Yeah. So that's what's going on behind the scenes. I want to bring it back actually to kind of the carriers, carrier deals. Sneed, I know you had a video go out on the best carrier deals. My question for you is, what do you think these deals on the new iPhones say about the carriers and where they're trying to position themselves? Do you think like the carriers are coming at this from a point of strength? Are they trying to pull customers from the other carriers? What do you think is going on right now in the MNO space?
If you don't have an attractive iPhone deal, you won't grow you will lose customers as a carrier. It's completely attached to that device, man.
Wow.
You know, it's like we saw Verizon kind of lag on the spending and the marketing, and their promotions kind of got quiet, and they lost 180,000 subs in postpaid. We saw AT&T over the course of the last 4 quarters really kick up promotions. They've dominated the postpaid ads. It's been all AT&T. I know everybody has it's been a reputation of T-Mobile to be the growth company. That's over. It's AT&T, and it's been AT&T. We are a little bit ahead of the curve because of our attention to that detail, but it's always been T-Mobile adding 1 million subs every quarter. It's been pretty religiously over the last 27, 28 quarters. That is absurd, right? That's John Ledger, Un-carrier, and then AT&T, John left and T-Mobile's in transition. They basically swallowed up Sprint, chewed them up and spit them out and took their parts. And then all that's left is really 3 carriers until Dish gets going. And
yeah, I did not see a Dish iPhone 13 deal.
Right. Yeah, and you won't, not for a while, because they don't have a national network for themselves.
They don't have anything.
Yeah, they don't have a postpaid offer. So it's like, all right, so we're down to 3 carriers. John is gone, the Un-carrier, and we're left with the more corporate situation. But they are competing, but it's through this phone. And AT&T has had the best offer because they are the only carrier that offers the same exact deal to existing and new. Right? So what does that do? That means you retain and you gain. And that's winning. Like if you're talking about growth and subscribers. So if you're looking at the best deal on apple.com for the pre-orders through the Apple Store and you choose a carrier, AT&T has the best deal. You're getting a free Pro, a $99 Pro Max. You can get a free Mini. So there's your deals.
How far back do you have to go as far as the trade-ins?
Dude, I have.
I don't know. I think
it's iPhone 10.
Okay, so you get a 10, you can get a free iPhone 13 Pro.
Yeah.
So if my 11 could get me a 13 Pro.
Your 11 traded in with AT&T will get you a free iPhone 13 Pro entry-level storage configuration.
128 gigs, right, Stetson?
128 gigs, all models this year, baby.
Yep.
That's actually that's pretty darn good. That's pretty rare.
Yeah.
There's so if you're looking for the best deal through that channel, AT&T is the one. Now, T-Mobile has a similar deal. They're at 700, and then they've got some other thing that they're doing through them, like a, I don't know. I was looking at the terms.
Yeah.
I have to look at the details, but it's structured different, but it's not offered to existing. That's for new, right? The existing customers get a different deal.
And it's a good to max too, right?
And they're going to try to sell you so you can get that 500, right? So You got to go up, and a lot of people are telling me with a multi-line account, their bills are going up $80.
I saw that on Twitter. Yeah,
Right.
I thought T-Mobile's deal was really interesting because they're not giving you a deal on the phone. They're giving you a deal on your service plan. And they're trying, like you said, they're trying to get people to switch over to Magenta Max.
The
Have
Magenta
them,
Max is more meaningful, Stetson, because that's a service deal that's monthly.
yeah, 100%. But they're doing, yeah. So if you're existing on Magenta Max, or if you switch to Magenta Max, they'll give you $500 for the iPhone 11 or newer. And then this is on top of Apple's dedicated trade-in program. So the regular trade-in program, whatever you'd get from Apple, you're getting $500 on top of that. And because my understanding is it's not tied to the phone, I think you have more flexibility to upgrade that device in the future.
Yeah, they do the new upgrade forever upgrade program,
Oh
whatever
yeah,
it
I
is.
saw that too.
Yeah, so and that's a 2-year. You're basically leasing the phone.
You're leasing the phone
right?
for 2 years. Do you know if you have to trade it in to get the next one?
Yes. Well, that's how that. That's
You're gonna
how,
give the phone back, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna literally
Yeah.
give them what you just got. You're gonna get into the new one after 2 years. I don't know if you guys are catching this. This is all recycled nonsense. They are literally rebranding the same deals with slightly different terms that only help the carrier. They are not helping people.
No, yeah, I caught on to it. It's literally gave me flashback nightmares to Sprint's Flex. Do you guys remember Sprint Flex?
Oh man, you'd be
That's
getting
exactly-
screwed after the 18 months and all that. Oh my god.
That's
man.
exactly what T-Mobile's promo made me think of, was Sprint's Flex, except worse because now it's over a longer span of time on top of it all.
You know, I care about Stetson's viewers and community like my own. You know, and like they're your community, Dennis. They watch you guys. It is you must step carefully when dealing with these carriers. First of all, you're never going to win, but because of the service pricing, that's the bottom line. They just want you on the network. That's how they win. You need cell phone service, so you're like, whatever, give me the good deal on the iPhone because I need service regardless.
Yeah.
But if you can do it, try to maximize the sale of your phone, right, and just take that money and then go to Apple and then buy or finance from them at 0% and just put the money in your pocket. Or go put it in your checking account or your savings account and then just pay your bill each month. And then come and go as you please. US Mobile, Visible, postpaid. Just do whatever you want. Because what happens is you end up regretting 2-3 months into it when you see that your bill is literally preventing you from eating lunch for 3 weeks. You know, you're like hungry and I'm like, oh, I can't eat today because I have to pay my smartphone bill. You know, like, come on, man. You can't jeopardize, your spending. You have to be smart about your budget. And I'm serious. I know people who have gone out of their budget because they don't know what they're doing in their wireless spending.
Wow. Yeah, no, it's huge. And I think the trick too is you go in seeing these huge flashy prices. I mean, even AT&T, which you said was the best, a free iPhone 13 Pro, you might have to pay for the first 3 months the financing terms before you get reimbursed for the credit and all the trade-in goes through. So I think, seeing that, you upgrade 2 lines, suddenly you're financing those 2 phones basically for a couple of months, adds extra to your bill, can throw things out of whack. One thing I will say quickly is that I appreciate it looks like you can actually do the trade-in at an Apple store. And I think this is really beneficial because sometimes I've heard of people doing mail-in trade-ins with AT&T and other carriers, and something happens, the phone is damaged in shipping or lost, and suddenly they're not receiving their credit. So the phone they thought was maybe $100 or $200 or even free is suddenly hitting that $800 to $1,000 price point.
Wow. So that does happen, huh, when people send in phones?
Yeah, I think it's hard to tell the frequency of that, but you do see it's like a loud minority on Reddit. Like people will say, hey, this is what happened to me, and rightfully be pretty upset about it. And it's just kind of hard to figure out, like, is that, 1%, 2%, 10%? But it is something. So I think trading in at any store in person is definitely the way to go.
And then you can get the Apple Care Plus, and you can deal with them when you need the support, and you could take it in for repairs and they're covered. You know, you make your appointment, you do your thing. It works.
You know,
It's great.
I think the biggest problem with these phone deals is if you think about how the average consumer operates, right? They're not looking at the full retail cost of the phone. They're not saying to themselves, you know, I'm spending $1,500, right? They're saying I'm only spending $9 per month or whatever it ends up being with their trade-in deal, right? And I think that's one of the major issues is that's how people get roped in to these really expensive things. And they're also not looking at, you know, their monthly cell phone bill going forward. Like we talked about T-Mobile, right? Like people that are on OnePlus, right? They can't get these deals. They have to go to Magenta Max. Well, even if some magical way their bill ended up being slightly, barely more expensive to get the phone, they're never going to get back on that sweet OnePlus plan, right? Like they're forever on that more expensive Magenta Max plan too, right? And, you know, with the fine print of how the carriers do things, it gets even shadier and shadier, right? We have situations where it's 36 months. That's a very long time. You know, there's other situations. There's other little caveats like what Stetson alluded to where you have to wait 3 months until the credits start getting applied instead of it being instantaneous. There's the whole leasing concept that we talked about with T-Mobile, which is really shady. And, you know, and then there's the whole issue of support too, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think any of the carriers win a gold star when it comes to support if something happens to your phone.
They'll try to send you somewhere else. You know, like, oh, that's the insurance. Oh, that's this. No, you don't have that coverage. You have this coverage. They don't really support you. And the worst part, I think, Dennis, you hit it right on the head. Not enough of the customers upgrading through their carrier are asking, what does this do to my bill? Because what ends up happening is they tell you they're giving you $1,000 for a phone, and then somehow your bill went up $18 per month. You know, like I thought everything was cool. I thought I was getting this for free. Well, how did it go up $18 per month? So, and especially when you go multi-line, right? What if it's 3 or 4 lines and you do some upgrading through that? So that $18 times 4 or 5, you know, you're looking at a $70 to $90 increase possibly after taxes. Could be vicious, man.
Could be vicious. Let's not forget activation fees too. I just was looking at those. Looks like $30 to $35 per line from the major carriers. And, you know, at first, actually, I'm kind of humbling myself now. I was like, I'm angry that Apple on their website says the iPhone 13 starts at $800 or $799. And then when you go to buy the unlocked model, you know how much it is? $829, $30 extra. But
$30
just dawned on
extra
me
for the unlocked?
That's correct,
Yeah.
Sneed. If you go for the
Wasn't
iPhone,
last year the carrier one was $30 more?
Yeah,
it was also the unlocked, not the carrier one.
Okay.
The carriers get an immediate discount, as they say on the site or whatever. So it is $800, but you have to pay that activation fee, which is $30 anyway.
So T-Mobile locks theirs, AT&T locks theirs, Verizon locks theirs for 60 days. So you'd be better off buying a Verizon one if you're going to do a carrier one and it's about getting it unlocked.
Yeah. That's
Man,
what I
they're
would
playing
say.
games. Nah, man. Unlocked is the way, my people.
Yep,
Unlocked is the way.
100%. That would be the only way I'd buy it, which is also the same reason why I said I wouldn't drop the max amount of money.
But Dennis, you like the people have to understand this. The people do not fall for the trap. Like you have to like get it through your mind. Like they're gonna scream deals. The number is inflated. 1,000, 1,100, 700, 1,200, 500 here. They're gonna do this. You have to truly believe it in your soul that they are trying to suck you dry. If you believe that in your heart, and you will buy unlocked, and you will be free, and you will be happy.
Now, can I just say something real quick though, on a positive note? There are some carriers that do things in a way that I don't find as egregious or bad. Specifically, tends to be prepaid carriers when it comes to phones that are discounted, where they don't require a trade-in, it's just flat up discounted, or something like Xfinity Mobile. A lot of times, if you look at Xfinity Mobile's promotions, we showed them on the channel before. They're just flat out like $300 off, applied as bill credits over 24 months. No trade-in required. It just requires you porting in your number, right? Clean stuff like that is a little bit less egregious to me than the very, 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 very prolonged out financing deals that are going on right now, or the leasing thing that T-Mobile's doing. And the reason why I find it a little bit less egregious is because it's simple math. Like, cost of phone divided by 24 minus the whatever the amount off is, right? Like, simple math. And if you don't like your experience, you could just buy out the phone and you still own it, and you're not really that much more in a poor man's situation. I think Cricket, and I want to say Cricket has done some decent deals on the prepaid side when it comes to just money off.
I think Cricket, Metro, they typically do like $100 off. So it's not like your $1,000 free iPhone 13 Pro,
but it's more genuine. Like
it's like, yeah, you get here, it's $100 off, and that's it. Like, stick with our service for 2 months and it's yours. And if you leave, that's fine too.
And I think it's 6 months to get it unlocked from Cricket, by the way, just as a heads up, Stetson. I think you get to stay with them for like 6 months. But
I used to like upgrading at Best Buy back in the day. Like my HTC One M7, my S5, like those years when I was upgrading, I was a Verizon customer, but I would always go to Best Buy, and I would get it was like different pricing. They wouldn't make me pay activation fees. They would waive those, and then it would be like a $50 instant rebate just because I was at a Best Buy and I wasn't at Verizon. I'm like, wait a minute. How am I saving $100 at Best Buy? And this is the Verizon channel, right? Like, they're like, yeah. And I was like, can I buy a screen protector? And you guys put it on. They'd put it on for you, and it'd have a lifetime warranty, and it would break, and you get a new one. And the dude would do it for you. He'd do the squeegee thing. Yeah, bro. I'm like, this is great, bro. To hell with Verizon.
Yeah, they'll transfer your data there too.
They used to do that. Yeah, they'd connect the cables and get you going. So while they're transferring the data, you just go and mess around with some iPads or some stereo equipment. I'd go over to this, the audio equipment and just put some stuff on real high, blasting it, and get the vibrations going for like 15 minutes.
Hey, nice. Sneed, on the topic of phones, you said you knew what was going to happen next year with Samsung. Please enlighten me, because I'm not too familiar. What's going on with S22 next year that you know?
It looks like the S22 is going Exynos.
For everything.
For Verizon.
For Verizon.
So I start to think, why? Like, what does Verizon know or want or need from Samsung? And it's a couple of things. I think it's performance related. I think it's heat related. And I think it's price related.
Definitely some money going on right now.
Yeah, so and it could be millimeter wave C-band related. I'm really starting to kind of go this direct. Like, they're smart at Verizon. They are. Like, they have obviously convinced manufacturers to put millimeter wave uniqueness to certain devices. We saw that with the S20.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're the only S20 model was the one that had millimeter wave. You couldn't get it at T-Mobile or AT&T. Because they've done things like this that make me think that it's something related to that. Millimeter wave, C-band, I don't know. Maybe it's the antenna system that they'll utilize. Qualcomm's not playing nice. I don't know. But that seems pretty solid. I mean, a lot of people are starting to echo that sentiment, so I'm starting to lean more towards that being a reality.
Well, I remember this from your stream now that you're saying this from last night, but I will just say, traditionally speaking, and I said this before, traditionally speaking, Snapdragon performs better than its Exynos
Until now. It took some years, but it looks like it's real.
I don't know, man. I feel like Exynos is still going to struggle here in the U.S. I mean, not to the same extent that it used to because of the shutdowns happening with legacy technologies like CDMA and stuff like that. Like, that's not going to be a problem anymore. But like, Qualcomm still owns like a lot of licenses, even in like the new 5G space and stuff like that.
So let's think about the electronics globally right now.
Mm-hmm.
Samsung is killing Nokia right now. Samsung Electronics. So when we're talking about like network gear, so the CBRS, C-band combinations, we see all those different types of hardware, the radios, the antennas. Samsung literally just ate up Nokia's lunch and took the Verizon contract. This is where I'm kind of going with this, right? There's a pre-existing relationship there. So if Samsung is the up-and-comer, Verizon's looking at them like, if you make superior gear and the price matches and it's good, they want to do more business, right? They've completely moved away from Nokia and gone with Samsung. And this news about the device is even more interesting because that becomes a potential exclusive. The Exynos variant on Verizon. What would Verizon market? We have a custom device for our network, and no company can say that. Like, what are you going to say? The frickin' the LG Velvet with the Dimensity 1000 is killing us with on T-Mobile. They're doing great. Come on, man. You know, like, there's a lot of potential there. And, you know, everybody keeps saying the same thing. These people on these forums that are in tune with the benchmarking and the chips and the performance, they're saying that the Exynos is going to perform like the Apple devices. That surpasses Qualcomm. So they're not saying they're
bananas.
Not, yeah, they're saying it's not just better than Qualcomm. They're saying it's as good as the Bionic chips. That's really bold.
Let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, let's just say that fact is true. Exynos this year is just absolutely on point, right? It's better than A15 Bionic. If Samsung were to accomplish such a feat, why would they want to restrict themselves to only being able to sell that variant through Verizon? Because Samsung makes their money from phone sales, right? They're still a hardware manufacturer to a certain extent. Why would they only want to sell it just through the Verizon network specifically?
I don't think it's them restricting it. I think it's them knowing or having something that people don't know about, right? Like Samsung's got an issue with supply right now. They may only be able to provide Verizon with supply. You know, like, did you see what the CFO just said about Samsung, the CFO of T-Mobile?
I didn't see.
Yeah, he said they're jerking us. We don't have supply. Our customers love Galaxies. You know, and the CFO of T-Mobile said that, who has no business talking about any of this. He's pissed. He's like, we need more devices. We're trying to sell, because he understands how it affects their bottom line. People want to upgrade. Yeah. People got money. They're working again. All this other, you know. So it's like he gets it. And here's the last thing that I'll say about this is, if Samsung produces a better chip next year than whatever Qualcomm has, that is the best case scenario. That is the best thing to ever happen to North American SoCs, because Qualcomm has not felt pressure in the Android space, right? Non-Apple related, because it's the Apple thing and then it's everybody else. It's like a different market.
Right.
That would put a legitimate fire under Qualcomm, because the only thing Qualcomm's really been doing is suing people for pens, right? And then and trying to block other competitors. That's really all they've done. They literally pushed Samsung Exynos to Europe and frickin' Asia.
Right.
Like, where do you get this shit? So we don't want that. If I had my choice, I swear to you, Dennis, if I had my choice between an Exynos and a Qualcomm and they perform the same, I want the Exynos. Just because. I don't care. I upgrade my phone every year. I don't care, right?
Yeah, the best analogy I could use for the Qualcomm versus Exynos debate is it's almost like Intel versus AMD in the desktop set. Like, I want to say Qualcomm owns something like, 90% of like US market share, or something like obscenely high like that as far as like SoCs go. So I agree. Like, Exynos performing and being competitive is great. Look what happened in the desktop space when AMD actually got their act together, right? Like, that's good. I just have certain reserves because I just know that, like, for whatever reason, Exynos in Europe has always had issues. Like, even if there was like a point where like maybe CPU performance was better in one aspect, some other part of the SoC was somehow inferior, whether it be the AI recognition, the graphical performance. Like,
but their the indication is that the GPU is going to be industry best.
I hope
that's not going to be the Achilles heel, because I hear a lot of concerns about the GPU.
Yeah, like, I hope that's right. Like, I know Samsung can make great stuff because, you know, Samsung's one of the fabrications that Qualcomm has used in the past. Like, I'm sure. Completely confident in Samsung's fabrication process, because they make the BDI RAM, like the BDI chips for the RAM, the SSD storage. Like, I'm completely confident in that. I am just curious to see what this design entails, and also what's important, by the way, Sneed, is something to consider too: how developers make use of it. for the software aspect of it, right? Because I'm sure there's going to be some things as far as how the SoC operates that developers are going to have to keep in mind to draw out that performance. And for developers to pay attention to optimize for those specific features requires market share.
So, Dennis, think about it. When in the world did a carrier ever want to know or get involved with the SoC of a phone? It has to be network related. There must be something that the Exynos chip can do or the others can't, or the Exynos can do it better, and it must be related to what Verizon focuses on, which is millimeter wave and then this whole C-band thing. So I don't know if it's going to be some form of beamforming antenna array. I don't know if it's going to be some kind of carrier aggregation with C-band, CBRS, and, but 8 months from now, I think we're going to look back at this podcast and some of the things we've been poking and prying about and peeling, I think it's going to be like, man, we thought about a lot of the things that show up today.
Well, let me put it on record in case this ever gets clipped in reference to me. Future version of me will happily admit that I'm wrong, and I'll be happy to say that I was wrong.
Same here. Absolutely. Same here.
Because I know I've been reserved about other things too in the past, and I know I went on record and corrected myself. I think I was, for example, at one point I was obscenely harsh with Dish at one point, which my tune has changed a little bit. I'm not as optimistic as you, Sneed, but I have a better understanding for why Dish is in the situation that Dish is in, and I can empathize and respect some of the moves that they've been making as far as the acquisition of Ting for the billing system and stuff like that.
Well, I'll say it like this, man. What's a good batting average in baseball?
A 0.4.
If you're 0.4, you're one of the best hitters of all time. So if you get 40% of your takes right, you're special. Because it's hard to predict this stuff, and we don't know all the details. If we had more details, we'd be 70-80% accurate, right? But we have to speculate because they don't talk. Even if you were to give these guys truth serum, I don't even know if they know everything sometimes,
True, behind so many closed doors. Where do you think Google's Tensor chip is going to fall?
It's going to be tremendous, man. Wow,
yeah.
It's going to be great.
I'm getting more and more tempted and interested in actually possibly the idea of getting a Pixel again. I haven't had a Google-based phone since the Nexus 6P.
It's a long while.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you hear that they put the Pixel 6 on display in the Google store in New York?
That's cool, man.
It's just sitting there. It's in a window. You can't go in and touch it. You can't go in and see it. It's just in a window on display for people walking down the street.
I'm not going to lie, and I know this is bad for me to think this, but my first thought was I'm surprised no one tried to break in and take it.
Just because, right? Yeah.
Well, not just because, but I could see someone taking it and trying to sell it on eBay or something to the highest bidder so it could be bought and then tore down or something, But
I don't know. We already know that Google leaked the phone themselves. That was their strategy. They didn't want to deal with any leakers, so they took the initiative.
But yeah, the reason why I'm specifically looking forward to it is because I'm getting tired of waiting for eSIM support from Samsung, and I really want that. I enjoy using Android more than iPhone, and the thing I want to basically do is, Lois is talking about supporting Verizon, right? So what I want to do is basically have an Android phone that supports dual SIM and have my T-Mobile line still be my primary one that I text you on, Sneed, but then have Verizon as my backup. That way I can reliably know that I'm going to constantly have coverage. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then just keep using my iPhone on AT&T like I always do, because I feel out of all the carriers, iPhone plays nicest on AT&T, and maybe that's a bad assumption of mine, but I feel that's the case.
No, I think it's true.
Accurate.
Yeah, I actually had issues, I think, getting visual voicemail to work on my unlocked Pixel 5a on AT&T, but funny enough, it worked fine on iPhone, and funny enough, it actually worked on Cricket on the Pixel 5a 5G. So
yeah, AT&T doesn't, for whatever reason, AT&T does not play nice with Android, which is the whole reason why my phone setup is the way that it is.
Yeah. I got you.
Side note, Carlos, you're in the chat. If you're still in the chat, man, I know last you told me things were a little complicated. I know you were able to get unlimited, or it sounded like you were going to get unlimited with Verizon. Are you able to chime in or add a comment? I'm very curious. I want to make sure we give you the proper promoting that you deserve, because I love what Los is doing.
Yeah, he's definitely working on it. He's been working behind the scenes, and I know what he wants. I know what his end game is. but it's not easy. You know, I get the sense that it revolves a lot of back and forth, and you know, it's what he was able to pull
It's
for
great.
the original Los Mobile Access is really tremendous. And now that that's the standard, you can't go down from that, right?
I
So like if he's gonna pull the VZ dub, then he's gonna want to try to get similar access. You know,
I actually disagree. I told Carlos this too, but if he's able just to get unlimited priority data or anything higher than the paltry 50 gigabytes that Verizon's doing on the postpaid side, and he's able to get
then that differentiates the experience, right?
Yeah, that gets the experience. And then also, I was going to say, too, a higher resolution for the video streaming. If he's able to get higher than 720p on the video, those two things alone will instantaneously make it worth, like, right off the bat. Oh, he just responded in the chat. He said he's talking with Verizon today. He's still working on it, and T-Mobile about to happen hopefully tomorrow. The back team calls me back. He sent them the laptop ready for activations. Same with Verizon. Nice.
Sweet. Wow.
Yeah, that is really good. And plus, with how Carlos prices things, he's going to be coming in under what Verizon charges for, in that scenario that I just posed, a higher quality plan. Because for us and our audience, we don't really care about all the streaming services, right? We want our cell phones to be a cell phone, right? AMC Plus, Disney Plus, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you like it, Stetson, but
No. What's funny, Dennis, is you know, why are all these carriers adding these streaming services to their plans to get people to upgrade to their plans? You know what's happening? People aren't upgrading their plans. So now what are they doing? They're making it so your iPhone deal is tied to the plan. Oh, you want that sweet T-Mobile iPhone deal? Got to upgrade to Magenta Max. Want that sweet Verizon deal? Got to upgrade.
So Stetson, this completely reconfirms something to us. People who care about plan access only, they're like just checking out the MVNOs. Hey, look, I need this coverage. I need this Verizon, or I need this AT&T. Around here, this is great, but I don't want to pay the $80, $90 for the priority access, right? I want a better deal, or I don't need those perks, and I don't have a multi-line account. I'm looking to save money, you know, and just get a good experience. I totally get it, especially people that go multi-line. Like they want an AT&T MVNO and a Verizon MVNO, or they want a T-Mobile MVNO and an AT&T MVNO. It's starting to make more sense. And AT&T and Verizon and T-Mobile would rather not deal with those people. They want the people they can sell all that crap to. They want the people that are like eating up the Disney bundle and are eating up the frickin' whatever that Sling. Bro, they got Sling TV at Verizon now. Did you know that?
I didn't know that about the Sling.
They got frickin' Sling TV, dog. They got AMC. It's nuts. I mean, if it's got 4 letters, there's some kind of a frickin' TV or content that Verizon's got for it. Make up 3 letters. That's the next thing they're going to have. You know?
See, the funny thing is, though, is that
they're about to have BP3 real soon, bro. BP3 TV, I'm telling you.
Look, hey, if Verizon wants to do that, hit us up. But listen. The thing that's funny is that like the U.S. is such an interesting market if we look at it from the global stage. Like if you go to places like China, it is 100% common to have multiple carriers, dual SIM, right? Same thing with India. Heck, same thing with even smaller countries like Singapore. And like here's the crazier thing too, when it comes to how people use their phones, people in like places like Singapore legit use their phones for their home internet, like legitimately. Like we were talking with when we had Erlu on, I can't think of his name. Please help me, Stetson.
Bahadir
was telling us like you can get like a plan that has like 300 gigabytes of data for like, I don't know, $20. And was it Singapore, right?
What type of speeds are they getting? I mean, Spectrum, dude.
Pretty good, I want to say, or at least usable for what he needed it for.
I think he said he was getting like over 100 megabits per second, if not more. And he was saying like gamers, people play video games like online using like their hotspots and stuff. Like no fiber. Like even though Singapore has fiber all over the place, people just sometimes use their phone for legit everything because hotspot isn't capped over there. Like hotspot isn't like how we are. Like hotspot's the same as like on cell usage. Like,
so this comes back to the DNA of a wireless carrier in America. They have always put their thumb over the customer. They've always wanted control of you. They've always wanted to cap you. They've always wanted to restrict you. even when they didn't have to. They had to have that element of control. In these other countries, everything has been prepaid. Everything has been free incoming calls. Like, it's crazy for us to think about that, but, you know, we were amazed when we got unlimited data, right? Like, that was a game changer for us. But in some countries, it doesn't even matter if you have unlimited. It's like 200 or 300 gigs. It's not a limit, right? Or it's not unlimited. But it's a
so
ton
much
of,
that it's like, yeah.
But everybody and their mother has that same plan. So, like, nobody, it feels like they don't have enough.
Right.
You know, and they're paying $20 because they don't have more than that.
Yeah.
You know, and they legit don't have more than $20 for a cellular connection. You know, so it's a little bit different there.
But I mean, it's just interesting to see, and especially talking talk about when they don't have to. There's not really an excuse with what 5G is supposed to promise that these types of draconian restrictions should be in place, right? Like, I feel like networks should be smart enough and have enough capacity at the very least to be able to handle phones. I'm not saying that capacity is infinite. I'm not saying that wireless is going to be a replacement to something like fiber, because you know how I stand on that, Sneed. But for phone usage, I feel like we've gotten to the point where we're efficient enough that we should be able to allow people to use their phones how they want to use their phones.
If carriers don't allow people to do more with their phones in 5G, then the 5G doesn't matter. If it does not enable new use cases and more use, like if I'm using my phone the same way a year from now on a 5G network, we didn't need 5G. They could have just put more spectrum on 4G LTE, more carriers, and added 10 carrier aggregation.
Boom.
You know, you get what I'm. Yeah, seriously, because what 5G is supposed to enable is new use cases, new apps, You know, like I just like what are you trying to pull? You know, it's literally a game. It became a marketing ploy. If it's about 5G is going to usher in this and that. If the plans don't change with 5G robust build, then we know what time it is with the carriers.
Question, Sneed.
The plans have to change.
Question, Sneed, by the way. Do you think that T-Mobile's on a solid pace to actually start, basically delivering what 5G actually means with their N41 rollout and everything?
There's too much variation in their performance. It's just way too up and down from market to market. I mean, I have a T-Mobile line, and it's off all the time unless I'm speed testing. I mean, I go to my gym, I'm listening to music, and all of a sudden the network's gone. They have to get through this whole integration thing with Sprint. Like, they've got a mess on their hands with this integration. I know what they're doing at these Sprint sites, these Keep sites. I know the type of upgrades they've got to do. There's a lot of equipment going out and a lot of new equipment getting put in. They've got to optimize. I mean, I've kind of heard certain things through the grapevines of the way that the culture is with the engineering too. It's really weird. To me, T-Mobile's a company in flux. They're going through a transition period. It'll be fine. It gets finished eventually. I'm not worried about that. But what's happened with T-Mobile is we've seen a shift in their culture with their new CEO. That, to me, is more concerning because they used to be a very customer-friendly company, and they used to have this incredible, customer care. Now it's kind of like a flip of a coin if you have a good experience or a bad one. It used to be like
experience.
It used to be more like 90% or more you're gonna have a good experience. Now it's like a little bit shaky. So some of the things that made them great, they've kind of moved away from, and the network piece is one thing, but I think they've lost touch of who they were when they were the underdog. And it's crazy. I've been saying this for a while, man. I'm not a freaking network prophet or anything like that. I just know what I see. And what I've seen out of their new CEO since last year, April, I mean, it to me is clear as day. And now, and I just tweeted this today, you guys can check it, check the receipts. Now the telecom media are saying that T-Mobile is different. Today, it's freaking September 16th. I've been saying this since April 16th of last year. But I've been watching, and I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not in their pockets. They're not in my pockets. They're not my friends. I don't need their input. I don't need interviews with their people. I don't need to go to lunch with the CFO of T-Mobile. These guys might have to. I don't know. They need a place to sit down when they do these earnings reports, right? They need the link to the webinar. I don't need that. So I can say and do whatever I want. And I can tell you that company is different today. And if you don't believe me, what plan are they trying to sell you?
Listen, Sneed, I've had long rants that talked about my experience when trying to get that free line. I had the long rants where I put them on blast for that data breach where they only gave me a nice $25 as a thank you for my service and didn't acknowledge it because their training representatives weren't, trained on the issue or aware of what was going on. So I 100% agree. 100% agree that T-Mobile is different.
They are.
What about Verizon and all this right now? Like, I obviously know Verizon is spectrum strapped until C-band comes out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think we've been seeing meaningful relief coming through in the form of some unlicensed spectrum and things like CBRS. Is that a pretty accurate centerpiece, or do you think Verizon's still struggling overall?
Anywhere they're doing CBRS, the network is better. It's
going to be awesome.
It's the top 50 PAs, so it's like wherever they have strong market share, the network continues to blaze. Like every time these small cells get turned on and they put CBRS and millimeter wave on these sites, it really picks up. The areas that are struggling for Verizon are these extended rural areas that haven't received an upgrade in a long time. So think about that dynamic. The place where Verizon has made their money has been rural America. We're the coverage carrier. But that coverage is now congested. So it's interesting when people say in my comment section of my videos, Verizon's coverage sucks now. No, your signal is there. Your throughput is not, because it's you and 2,000 other people on a band 13 only site. Verizon has neglected rural American sites for a long time, right? They've been putting all their invested money into big cities where there are thousands of people on every single site, right? So it's been millimeter wave, it's been CBRS, it's been 2, 5, 13, all these upgrades, like all the traditional LTE. These sites are getting modernized hardware at an incredible pace. Every site around me for Verizon, at its slowest, does 50 to 100 megabits.
That's
every single site has been upgraded. People tell me about these experiences, and I can't relate. It's nowhere to be found in my market. Nowhere. And then I could pull up at the bakery, and I'm baking bread, and I'm getting ultra-wideband. Signals just bouncing all over the place, and there's CBRS in the area. It's just, and unfortunately, those people, they don't occupy a large portion of the market share. If you're on a band 13 only site in, Biloxi, Mississippi? I don't know. Pick a rural area, right? They got peach trees in Georgia, right? It's a band 13 only site that hasn't been upgraded since 2012.
What's interesting is too, I rag a lot on T-Mobile's coverage because you see my performance in my market. But I will say, if we're talking about bars on phone, I can't deny that T-Mobile's infinitely better than they've ever been. But it's N71 5x5. That's their saving grace.
That's incredible. 5x5?
Yeah, we went over this before, Sneed.
Okay, so there are certain markets for T-Mobile where they have 20 megahertz of N71 that's licensed for themselves, and they're leasing 20 megahertz from Columbia Capital Holdings. And they're leasing 10 or 20 from Dish. They could have 40 or 60 megahertz available through LTE and 5G because they're using other people's spectrum. See, this is the crazy thing. No carrier has more spectrum, sub-6, than T-Mobile, and it's not even close. Literally, the FCC could say, if they wanted to, this is out of control. You literally have 40 megahertz of 600, and Verizon's got 10 by 10 on band 13. They've got 10 by 10 on band 5. This is in crazy. And think about the market share. And think about the market share. That's where this falls. Like Verizon has more customers and less spectrum. T-Mobile,
something's not right about that.
right? And then T-Mobile's got the now like it's kind of evened out because they got the Sprint customers too. But like, it's just crazy to think, how is Verizon even doing anything right now with so little spectrum? And we talked about the densification, right? So like Verizon has coped with their poor decision making, not buying enough spectrum when they could, by just building more sites to offload traffic, right? To kind of divvy up the network. But man, there are some markets where T-Mobile has crazy 600 megahertz, and they also have a lot of band 2. Remember, they got Sprint's PCS, and they have their own band 2. So they got like 20 megahertz of their own, and then like 20 megahertz of Sprint, and they're running both.
Oh yeah,
and eventually that's going to end too, right? So it'll be an NR, a wide channel, right? So T-Mobile has the ammunition, right? Like it's crazy. When I was talking about the merger a couple of years ago, sub 6 gigahertz, T-Mobile was going to win, right? But the one thing they didn't have was coverage. So there are definitely going to be people who are going to say, well, the reliability, the coverage, they have their weakness. They have their weak points. So I always thought to myself, the moment they get the merger cleared, they must immediately address the coverage. Because as soon as that's done, now they have all of this spectrum. Like they'll have the most bulletproof network,
Yeah, I think it's just about building it right. Verizon has built everything right, and they're just waiting for C-band so they can flip the switch, build that right, and their network is going to go from what it is now to like a brand new highway or like a maglev train.
Like an Autobahn, right?
Yeah, it's going to be sweet. It is going to be sweet.
So Sneed, when we were talking, I was just checking my band support real quick so I could be accurate for you for what I see currently sitting in this part of my house, which I'm on the 3rd floor, so clear line of sight. I have band 66, 15 megahertz. There is band 12 5x5 available.
Useless.
There is NR71 5x5 available. And there is band 2 10x10.
Okay, can you turn off 5G?
Turn off 5G?
Yeah.
Sure.
Turn off 5G and show me what you got.
You got it. I was using the actual Samsung band selection tool to force connections because the band 2 is pretty weak on the center. But
yeah, turn off all the 5G bands if you can go into that service menu.
Yep.
Turn off all the 5G bands. Just leave it on LTE. Let's see what it defaults to.
You got
it. Because I'd be if there's no way they have 10 megahertz. There's no way they have 10 by 10 600 megahertz. That's so little. I almost don't think that's possible.
It's 5x5 to clarify again. Just to clarify again.
Yeah, but like I was thinking combined between NR and LTE.
I got it.
I'm assuming that they put more of the 600 megahertz on the LTE side, which might help you.
So I dropped down to the LTE side, and the only thing it wanted to stably connect to was band 66.
Interesting.
Run a speed test. Pull up the service menu.
Got it. Okay, give me 2 seconds.
Needs like doing network diag. Like, what is going on here?
You got to strain the network. You got to pull for them to aggregate all the carriers. So go ahead and run it.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
Running
that's
a speed
true.
Test right now.
Did you?
So I started running the speed test, and it carrier aggregated the band 12. So I got band 12 5x5 with band 66 15 megahertz. That's what it's carrier aggregating on LTE. And
okay.
For the speed,
you can select bands. Turn off the 12. Turn off the band 12.
You got it. 2
this
seconds.
Is crazy. What are they doing over there?
I will also just say, just for the record, Sneed, I have not once in my life have I seen band 71 over 5x5 in my market. Just to clarify, just so you're aware.
We've got 5x5 on LTE and 15.
Wow. The way I've
5G.
seen it be split before is I've seen 5x5 on LTE and 5x5 on NR, but I've never seen a larger channel on either side of things.
I wonder why they don't have the licenses there. Somebody else has it.
They definitely have the licenses. I just don't think they're deploying it in the same way that when NR41 was rolling around, right? My market had some that were like 40 megahertz for NR41 or 60 megahertz. It wasn't until just recently that some of them being upgraded to 100 megahertz for example. And, we had talks about backhaul before too, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Where backhaul just has not been on point. So even when there is the ideal situations, like I'm just not seeing fantastic speeds.
So you turned off the band 12 now?
I just did, yeah. I
Okay.
selected everything except for band 12, and I'm just double checking myself. Yeah, all LTE bands, although it still wants to show a 5G indicator, which is weird.
It likes to do that. It gets excited,
Okay, so it's showing 5G because for whatever reason I picked band 71 and it just forced itself over to NR 5G 5 megahertz. 71.
And you turned 5G off?
Yes, I will show you. Hold on, let me take a screen cap.
This is crazy, man.
Let me just take a screen cap real quick so we can just show what it locked onto. And then if you look, all right, I just took 2 pictures. I'm gonna send them to you I'm gonna text them to you here real quick that we don't have to try to see through the crappy screen.
Jeez.
Yeah, when I did that, it just wanted to lock onto N71S, like just all by itself. And I just sent those over to you now.
That's crazy.
And then when running a speed test, it went back to band 66 and dropped the NR71 connection.
Dennis, your area might be one of the first places to get dish coverage.
That would definitely be interesting. I will just say, for the sake of putting on the record, 5G has been incredibly wonky, so I have been falling back on LTE quite frequently. So I'm not sure if they're doing work on the site that's nearest to me, but yeah, I mean, most of the coverage that's like I see on low band is N71, and it's always 5x5.
All right, so you're in band selector. The only thing I would say is disable band selector, actually go into the service mode, and disable the radio bands through the service mode.
Gotcha.
Star pound 2663 or something. I forget what it is for Samsung.
It's Carlos has it. It's star pound 2263 pound.
That's where you want to go. Turn off band selector, go into that menu, and then turn off all 5G bands, and then turn off the band 12. Because what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to force to see what type of channel they'll give you for the band 71 for LTE, and then see if you pick up the 2 and the 66, because those are your wider channels. And then I think your speeds will actually get better in your house.
Wow.
And because the RSRPs for your, I think your 66, it said it was minus 116, that's kind of low. So your band 2 is probably going to be like 109 or 108. It'll be a little bit better. So that might help your speed also.
Yeah.
Once the RSRPs get a little bit lower, the better. And if your SINAR can get a little cleaner too, like closer to 18 or 20.
Yeah, I mean, one more quick pick. I just put it back into default, so it locked onto band 66 with NR band 66, 15 megahertz, and NR 71. It popped that real quick, but yeah, the SINAR and the signal isn't great. If I move to the opposite side of the house, it gets a smidgen better, even though it's facing towards like the hills.
I'm incredibly surprised that they're only running a 5x5. That just means they don't have it there. Because if they had the licenses, Dennis, they would be using it.
They'd be using it for sure.
Yeah, because that's their go-to. That's T-Mobile's go-to channel is their 600 megahertz.
They love it.
But
it's their main course, their entree.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's why I have great Wi-Fi. And I will just say that the funny thing is that AT&T isn't like that, like at all. Like in this area, we've seen it before. Even on quote unquote 5G that we talk about not being great. Because we confirmed that when we had Sasha on from PC Mag during his testing, like 5G not even worthwhile to keep on with AT&T from his tests. We're seeing speeds of.
You know, it's funny he mentioned that.
Yeah.
Because award after award goes to AT&T 5G.
Really?
Yeah. Go to the root metrics. They have the most markets where they have the highest average or median download speed on 5G.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so go figure. So Sasha tells you to turn it off, and then all these root metrics and open signals.
See, but
yeah, I see it. It's good. It's very nice. 150. Yeah.
That's a consistent thing. And upload is basically what Stetson gets with his Comcast he just got installed at.
Oh yeah, like 35. Yeah.
That's really good uplink.
Gotcha.
Wait, that's AT&T's uplink?
Yep.
That's incredible. I'd never get anything above 20 or 25.
Yeah, ping was 29 milliseconds with a jitter of 4. download was 146, upload was 41.3. And remember, this is at like 9 o'clock in the afternoon. If I ran this during non-peak hours, I have seen speeds as high as 240-ish, and upload speeds around like 60 on AT&T.
Yeah, see, this is the problem. Ryan brought this up. Thanks for looking that up, Ryan. Who the F is Blue Water Wireless and New Level LLC? So is New Level LLC some holdings company that has the spectrum? Blue Water Wireless might be a regional carrier?
I don't know, but it scares me that he knew I was in Allegheny County.
Well, that's Pittsburgh, right?
Oh, well, I did. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Well, there's different counties in Pittsburgh, so I'm just surprised.
Okay. So he was reaching maybe.
No, but yeah, he got it spot on. I'm in Allegheny County, yeah.
Now you got Dennis all freaked out. Come on, Ryan.
Nah, he's good, but I don't know who Blue Water Wireless is. I've never heard of them, to be honest.
Me neither. Yep.
So there you go. Well, gentlemen, we've been going for an hour and a half now. Sneed, it's been a pleasure having you on. Is there anything else you want to shout out to the audience, where people can find you, any content you have coming up?
Yes. My channel is Sneed Mobile Tech. I make videos about wireless network technology, mobility. I make shorts videos. I do live streams. I have a podcast. I'm going to invite these two gentlemen to my show pretty soon. We'll get them on there. Most of my content moving forward is going to be network related, right? We've got C-band coming out for Verizon. I can't wait to test that. More millimeter wave to test. I really love testing that stuff. I got a new thing going on my channel where I'm analyzing the network performance at stadiums. So I'm calling on all viewers to send me screenshots and emails of your experiences at these arenas and stadiums, because I can't go to all these places, but you do. So you can send me what you're seeing, and I could share with the community. So that's sneedmobiletech@gmail.com if you'd like to email me, at SneedTech on Twitter, and the YouTube channel, Sneed Mobile Tech.
Channel is linked in the video description, so make sure you check it out. Make sure you subscribe.
Sneed, when are you streaming next?
Friday.
This Friday?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I stream every Friday.
Okay.
Every Friday. Every Friday's a great Friday.
Do you want to have us on for tomorrow?
I'd love to have you guys on tomorrow.
Sneed rolling his show.
I mean, we could make it. We didn't really get into birthday talk, but maybe he could throw it in there. That would be the birthday
dude.
stream.
Let's do it. If you guys are welcome to join tomorrow, if you can make it.
Awesome. We appreciate it. We'll talk about that, get it coordinated behind the scenes. But Sneed, we want to thank you so much for joining us tonight, this evening, bestowing your wisdom on iPhone 13. What's going on with the carriers, the deals, keeping people safe.
I want a BlackBerry.
And that's it for this live stream. Thank you to all who joined, and please enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening. And make sure you tune in to Sneed's live stream.
And
tomorrow.
Thumbs and subscribe if you haven't done already. I see there's 60 of you and there's only 26 likes. We need more. Smash those like buttons before you forget.
And share. Yeah.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Peace.